Welcome to the Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth podcast with Gary Helt. Gary is an expert in helping business owners put together a plan that will provide a better future for their businesses, themselves, and their families. On the podcast, Gary interviews other professionals who share his vision, and together they share secrets and strategies any business owner can use to build a better financial foundation for your business and your life.
Welcome back to the podcast. This week, our guest is Joseph Carey, and he's a fiduciary investment advisor with Slight Edge Wealth Management. Welcome, Joseph.
Thanks for having me, Gary.
So, Joseph, tell us your story. What got you into the investment field, and what have you been doing for the past 30 years?
It's quite a story. So I'll go back to my college days. I went to Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts. It's unique in the fact that it's a co-op university, so it's a 5-year school as opposed to most 4-year universities. So freshman year, you're taking courses or what have you. Then your sophomore through your senior year, you do what we call a co-op, which is basically an internship. So I had the pleasure of having a mentor allow me to or set up a co-op for me at Alex Brown and Sons, which is one of the largest investment boutique firms on the East Coast at that time.
Right.
And working there and watching the advisors, immediately I said, this is what I'm going to do after basketball. So, I finished my basketball days and played a little bit overseas. And then I came to Jacksonville. I was assistant head coach at the University of North Florida. And, I did that for almost 2 seasons. They fired the head coach. And then, I had to make a decision because I got fired too. So,
right.
So I said, you know what? I said I was going in the financial industry. So I started knocking on doors. The Hancocks of the world. I think at that time it was American Express Financial Advisors. I knocked on that door. I got rejected. And I went to Prudential. And first time, I did their test and I didn't hear back for a whole year. And then I got a letter in the mail saying, hey, we see that you did well on the test. We'd like to have you come back in and test again. Went back in, I tested again, did even better. And my manager at the time, Neil Cronin, gave me an opportunity. I think he's still with Prudential. I think he's like emeritus right now. But he gave me my opportunity. And, that's how I got in the industry. After 9/11, Prudential went public. I decided to start my own shop. I went out, started my own shop, and did fantastic for about 12 years, right up around the end of 08, 09, and we know what was going on then. So I decided to sell the book or the block at that particular point. And I worked with a couple firms after that, like John Hancock, the principal. Did a little bit of hybrid wholesaling with Allstate. And then I just was reminded that I work better being in business on my own. And I went out and got my Series 65 because I knew that's where the business was going. And I needed to have that for, the giving advice laws that are coming down the pipe. And I said, you know what, I'm going to start my own RIA. And I jumped out there and I did it. And here we are.
Right. That's a pretty good journey there from kind of where you started out to get there. That's for sure. You work with small business owners and stuff like that. What are some of the common financial challenges that you see that the small business owners are taking on right now?
Well, for a while there, it was keeping the doors open. For many of them, keeping the doors open. And I have clients now that are facing, in different industries that are facing different challenges. I have a client, that's in the title business, and she's facing, hardships now because of the real estate industry and the trouble that's seeing. And we haven't seen the worst of that yet. So I don't know how it resolves itself, but I know the road won't be, it won't be smooth sailing. but keeping the doors open, keeping business going in whatever industry they're going. And then one of the biggest challenges is these small business owners setting up retirement for themselves and their employees. That seems to be a big challenge. It seems the cost and the fear of not having enough revenue to put away enough money for themselves and keep the business going is what I'm seeing with most.
Right. What in this planning that you're helping them do, you talked some about insurance. How does insurance play a role in that?
Well, I think it plays a tremendous role, and one of the things that I often talk to them about is disability income protection, overhead expense protection that most of these business owners don't hold. I think that's one of the biggest, things that I see uncovered by most business owners is not protecting the income of for themselves and their employees.
Right. When you're looking at retirement for these business owners and for their employees, what are some of the challenges that you're seeing there? I know you said it's like, hey, trying to be able to keep the doors open and things like that. But what about, from an educational standpoint, of them understanding, what truly retirement is and what vehicles you can use inside of retirement?
Well, fortunately for most, the literacy level is low. And it's not even, it's kind of a mentality sale, if you will, for lack of better words, is to getting them to understand the benefit of setting these things up and making the sacrifices to have them in place, not only for themselves, but their employees. And then trying to get them to understand the different vehicles that are available to them, like we were discussing earlier, from a tax advantage, standpoint, just the one track mind of the 401k is what you see most times, and what most people know to say anything about, and they really don't even understand that as well. So it's really a place that we put ourselves in, is to try to educate. And once they see the benefit from what the information is that we're giving them, and they verify that it is factual, then we hope to gain them as clients in that process.
Yeah, I know for on my business side, lots of times, we have found that lots of times the business owners truly are overspending in their lifestyles, let's say, and because of that, and for me, lots of times it's the taxes that they're overspending on, and we really try to help them put together a plan to help them, show them it's like, hey, look, we can help reduce your taxes, that you can use that money to do other things, retirement or whatever it is. When you're going through and you're meeting with your clients, I mean, kind of what's your approach to it? When you sit down and start talking with them, especially when they're saying, hey, I get to choose either keep the doors open or retirement.
Well, it's finding that balance, and it's trimming the fat, if you will. Like you just mentioned, it's trying to go back and say, okay, where's money going? Because usually, whether it's a business or an individual, if you go back and you look at a 30-day window, you can see where the money went. And then you can start to talk about, what are the needs, what are the versus the wants. And I mean, it's great to be in, I've been in that place where I'm a business owner and business is looking good, and you want to run out and grab that car, and you want to, do all these other things to say, reward yourself. But, it's not doing too much too soon,
Right.
is what I try to talk to clients about, and try to get them to realize, like, probably a car is one of the worst investments ever, and they're not going anywhere.
Right.
And that's tough for most, because again, they want to reward, they want to feel good about what they're doing and the success they're having. And but I try to turn that and say, well, wouldn't resting on the laurels of a great retirement and peace and having no debt and things of that nature, wouldn't that be more of a reward than this car that's going to depreciate as soon as you buy it?
Hmm.
And you try to get them, you try to talk in that vein to get them to say, hold on a second, yeah, that's, it's almost like, do you want the $300,000 today, or do you want the penny doubled every day for 10 years? So you get them to see that,
Right.
and then I think
Yeah. What, looking at things, I mean, what are some of the common mistakes that you're seeing, individuals and business owners making when it comes to investing and accumulating wealth?
well, there's a couple of things. One of the things is just not having increased literacy, not understanding the investments that you're considering or that you purchased, not understanding what it will do for you, what it can do for you, what it won't do for you. And I think a lot of people are just, they're following the crowd with most of these things. They're listening to all these pundits, and they're not getting it straight. They're not getting the facts. And, unfortunately, they don't find out till it's too late.
Yeah, I mean, you always hear the people saying, "Oh, well, my next door neighbor told me to invest in this or whatever," and it's
That,
just like you said. I mean, lots of times, if you're trying to, what I have found, you trying to do it yourself, lots of times you're chasing a dog's tail and you never catch the dog for sure.
yeah, and that's part of why the name of our company is what it is, Slight Edge, because we really, in all truth, we go against the grain of the industry. I know the 401k is pushed. We educate them on where that came from, why it exists, what's its real goal,
Hmm.
and it's not a tax friendly. It's not tax friendly to anybody that has one, and it's going to keep you in a taxable place for the rest of your life. So you're going to work 20, 30 years on a job or in your business, and then you're going to retire, and then you're going to pay taxes for the rest of your life. So we try to show individuals, no, you don't want that, do you? So we have software and things of that nature to show individuals, like, let's pay the tax now, get you out of that investment and get you into a tax favored investment or a tax free investment. And let's just see that, let us show you how much money you're going to save, and how much you're going to prevent paying Uncle Sam over the rest of your life. And we show that model, and people are astounded when they see that, because they never really think about it in that vein.
As you can say, I mean, I bet you guys run into a lot of challenges with that, because that's not mainstream, wealth management. People aren't, because again, it's all about, oh, buy this stock or put your money in your retirement plan and so forth. So what are some of the things that you guys have done to try to help overcome those challenges that you're running into with that?
Again, education, putting the facts in front of them. I mean, because, I have this old saying, do you want the truth or do you want the facts? And people look at me crazy when I say that. They're like, well, what's the difference? I
Right.
said, well, the truth is everybody's got a truth. So, like, the way you were raised is your truth, but
Right.
that's not my truth. So what we do is we go to the facts, because the facts are indisputable. You can't dispute the facts. It could be thundering and lightning and dark and cloudy, but we know the sun is still there. That's a fact. You
Right.
can't dispute that. So that's the way we approach the whole investment process, the fact-finding process with our individuals, and the educating process is to give them the facts, and we challenge them to even go check it out, go look at it. I know we're putting materials in front of you, but take those materials and go, research it and come back. And those that are brave enough to come back, they become clients. But then there's some individuals just think that, they just don't want to accept it. So, and I think sometimes it's some kind of relationship. I don't know if it's somebody, a family member that they're doing business with, or something of that nature, where they're just not going to sever that relationship regardless of how bad it might be for them. And we just have to let them go. We know we're not for everybody,
Right.
but those that want our help, we're going to help.
Right. You talked about the penny a day concept, and I'm going to direct this towards the younger individuals and business owners. Can you talk about that a little bit, because I don't think people truly understand the power of that?
Well, it's about the power of compounding interest, and I was presented with this probably 15 years ago, and I thought about it real hard. And as much as that 300,000 sounded so good up front, I said, well, I just took this. I had this hunch that, because I'm a numbers guy. I said, well, give me that penny. And I found out that, that penny doubled every day for 30 days was $10 million. And, trying to get young people to understand that, well, not just young people, you have, people our age who
Well, right.
don't understand. Because we're in that, I want it now. I
Right.
want it now. And that mentality is got a hold of a lot of us, and then really understanding the power of that compounding interest and making investments work for you over time and safely is one of the things that we show people. It can compound for you over time and safely. You don't have to worry about market crashes and things of that nature, and it's tax free. Right. So when you show them that triple threat, they're like, "Oh my God!" And then because we don't tell them what the product is,
right,
until they understand the concept. And of course, when we reveal the product, then that's where they're like, "What?" So it's that it's almost like shoving something in somebody's mouth and saying, "Isn't that good?" And then after they eat it, you tell them they ate a snake.
Right. 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 I think that again, I think so much with investment. Yes, everybody has their different investment philosophies and different things like that they have. But I think that the fact is starting sooner than later. Not saying that if you start later that you can't get where you need to get to, but you just got to start, and that's the most important thing.
You're absolutely right. And again, my dad used to tell me, "You better listen to a fool." But he would, and I knew when he said that, I knew it was something important.
Right.
I try to tell my stepkids, and I actually don't tell them, but I show them the power. I show them the power. I run illustrations on things for them, and I'm saying, "Look at this. If you do this for just 20 years,
mm-hmm.
money won't be the problem for you. It'll be what to do with it."
Right.
And I try to tell them, don't wait as late as I did. Don't do some of the things that I did. Do this. Like, make this like a bill that you have to pay every month or every year. Make sure you do this. And they saw the number, and it was not a lot of money, but it became a lot of money. A little bit saved today becomes a lot tomorrow. I mean, it's just the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
And it's, putting it in things that have that power of that compounding interest that we know about. And then the tax advantages. It's huge, because that's the issue for everybody. I mean, this country, we know the number one revenue of this country is taxes.
Right.
Number two is consumer spending. The country's in debt, so they need us in debt. They need you to keep buying, and they want to keep taxing.
Right.
So if you can get free from those things, you set yourself up pretty good, because you're now, you're not a victim of the beast. The beast is going to try to lure you, but you're like, no, I'm not going to play your game. I'm not going to play your game.
Right. I think so much of it goes back to the needs and wants, and making sure that your needs are taken care of, and you're able to keep your wants at a bay. Because you look at consumer debt, like you said, I mean, right now, what are interest rates on consumer debt? 29%. And it's just like, yes, right now we're at a historic low with tax rates, but with all the money that the government's given out, and all the debt that the government has, you don't care what political side you stand on, you got to know that rates are going up at some point in time. And the tax rates have to go up to be able to pay down the debt, or at least to keep it at bay at best. So I definitely think that's something that's important.
The rates are going up for who?
Right.
They're going up for the middle class.
Right. I mean, so it's one of those things that it's, I think that it's important, and you're right about making sure that again, you're paying yourself first, which I think is always, always important. And lots of times it's a hard concept for people to understand.
You know, I have empathy for individuals that, they want to run out and buy this, or they want to run out and buy that, because we've actually been conditioned for that because we work so hard, and they want to feel good, and it's a dopamine thing. It's a dopamine emotional response to go buy something and try to feel good for a moment. I'm going to this job every day, whether you like it or not, and I want to do this. But it's always, what I've learned even with myself is, how am I going to feel later on?
Right.
When I, once the lust is worn off and all that good stuff, and you go through these buyer remorse situations, and if you need, you need cash for something else major comes up, and now I don't have that cash, but I got that car sitting out there that, I hardly drive because I drive it to a place and it sits for 8 hours every day. And then I'm too tired on the weekend to drive it, but I got it. So,
Yeah.
And you try to get to those places. And I just got to a minimalist mindset. I've had the big cars, I've had all that stuff. And I'm like, man, that stuff's nothing. But, having time freedom, having access to cash, tax-free cash, things of that nature, that's what really feels good. When, you can kind of be your own bank, if you will, and maybe even put yourself in a position where, I'm just working because this is what I want to do, not because I have to. Those are the aspirations that I really try to get people to catch on to, and, get excited about.
Right. So Joseph, we've talked about a bunch of stuff here. What have I not asked you that you wish I had?
You've asked me you touched on quite a bit that was that I'd love to talk about, but I guess one of the things is why did I get into the business?
All right. Why'd you get into the business?
Well, I got into this. I grew up in Baltimore.
Okay.
Baltimore is a rough place. I grew up in East Baltimore, and I grew up with not a lot. And initially when I got into this business, it was about making a lot of money. That opportunity was there. But when I got into it and I really began to see that it was more to it than that. It wasn't really about me. Yes, you can make a great living, but it was about the people that I was going to be able to help and really try to free their mentality of how they think about finances and investing and things of that nature, insurance and things, things that people, they're not thinking about it every day, but
Right.
it's very integral in the success of their life and their family and all that good stuff. So, one of the reasons was, my mom. My mom passed away, and she didn't have retirement. She didn't have life insurance. She didn't have any of those things. She didn't have anything to leave behind other than, small bills that had to be, taken care of. And, pretty much that's it. So the importance of that legacy that you can build for your family and loved ones, and do it through, investing and insurance and things of that nature. That's another thing that I really want to push to individuals, especially the, Black community,
Right.
to get them to understand the importance of it. So those are one of the things that is still what I want to do. And I know why I exist in this business and what this business exists for. The money and all the earnings that you can do and have, it takes care of itself.
Right. So Joseph, if people like what they hear and they want to talk to you, what's the best way to reach you?
They can go to our website. It's slightedgefinancialinc.com. The phone number is 904-483-0746.
Great. Joseph, I appreciate our talk today, and I'm sure our listeners got a lot from this. If not anything, you may going to make them think a little bit about where they have their investments, and especially talking about the some of the tax-free strategies and things like that. So I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me on, Gary. I appreciate the consideration and bringing me on.
No problem. Appreciate it. All right. This week, our guest was Joseph Carey, who is a fiduciary investment advisor with Slight Edge Wealth Management. I'll see you guys next week.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com.